This week I was having a hard time to choose a topic that I want to talk about, but then this morning I actually have to be at a meeting at 9, but I did my morning routine and it took a little bit longer, and one could argue if I'm gonna make it or not. So I'm creating my reality distortion field. Many people tell me that it's not possible or it's not the way how it should be, but I always think in my own terms. So what is reality distortion field? I want to tell it, but first let's head to that meeting and see if I make it on time. I think it's doable. Meeting went well, got back to the office, changed. So, what is reality distortion field? Actually, the term comes from Star Trek, when the aliens created their own world despite of any logical reason or whatsoever that was going on. Basically, you can apply reality distortion fields in many aspects of your life, and you will encounter a lot of difficulties with people not understanding how could it be like that? That's not logical, that's not realistic. Watch the iPhone 1. As Steve Blank puts it, the difference between introverts and extroverts is that one is looking at their own shoe and the other is looking at the other person's shoe. By the way, this is a great indicator to read someone's personality, but the point here is to see the world with someone else's angle, with someone else's point of view. Let's say you are at a restaurant. No, actually, let's go to a restaurant. Where was I? Oh yeah. So let's say you are at a restaurant, a really nice one, enjoying the summer, enjoying everything you have there, and you see one thing, and there is a background. There are noises. You see people, and then you see an ice cream shop, you see houses, terraces, balconies, you see different things. This is a totally different point of view. And what we need to understand is that this applies to everything in our life. So we have to get up and switch the view and understand the other's perspective. This is what Steve Jobs did, and it is called a reality distortion field. It's not about making the impossible possible at all. It's about seeing the differences between the two and realizing what can be possible and making that happen. Basically, you are just sharing your vision in a simple and convincing way where other people can feel attached and connected because you made your vision their vision. This is how you can actually get partners or family, investors, customers, thus making something real that hasn't existed before. If you do that, my friend, you distorted reality.
Amazing. It's amazing, beautiful, wonderful, phenomenal, great, incredible, amazing, incredible, extraordinary, phenomenal, unbelievably great.
There is this story about the power of metaphor. When the Macintosh was launching, they were like 1 week ahead, and the booting time was really bad, and he asked the engineers if they could shave up like 10 seconds out of it, and they said it's impossible. They tried everything. So what Steve did, turning their point of view around, was that he asked, could you shave up like 10 seconds if someone else's life depended on it? The engineers were like, yeah, maybe 20 seconds less. That's the power that Steve could represent. Steve's outbreaks were not just outbreaks. He used this as an intel to the other person's emotions and the way they react. This is how Steve could shape the world into his playground. He just painted what the other person wanted to hear. One more thing, as Steve would say, the reason why people could share his beliefs and these reality distortions could work is because the people wanted to improve something, and Steve understood what that was and he just touched up on it. It's like creating memorable moments, any kind of memories. Man, do you remember when he pulled out the MacBook Air from an envelope just to illustrate how thin it was?
This is it. Let me take it out here.
Here are two stories from my life where I use reality distortion field. So we are planning this trip to the States. One of my best friends from there is getting married. It's all exciting, can't wait to vlog about it. And the ticket prices, I mean, it's August, it will be very high. I started to search online. I saw that the prices go from like $500, but got us a price around like $900 or $1,000. That's just too expensive. And I told them that, hey, we could get 500 or 600 tops. They were like, how? We can't, and you have these preferences with the extra legroom. Long story short, we could make it happen. Second story is actually a sad one. When I was starting up SpringTab, my company, 4 years ago, and I had an early partner, we were doing okay, but we had so many challenges, entrepreneurship, right? But he didn't feel that. And I'm like, man, we have all these opportunities. We do have clients, we have other options, we will get into an accelerator, we just have to persist and hustle. And he was like, no, I don't see it. 2 weeks after he left, we got into the accelerator. It was only in my head, it wasn't real. So I had to make it happen. Here is one more thing again, since we are talking about Steve Jobs, right? So I love when people tell me that I can't do something. I just love it. A really good question to ask yourself in this situation, that how would it look like if it was easy? Actually, I made a short video on that as well. Answering that and acting up on it will enable to twist reality and make something happen that seems impossible. But it's possible, but you see that tiny difference that I mentioned earlier.
Hold up, I'm just trying to pass my classes, but doing that and making music goes.
And now let's do some mentoring and distort their reality.
So I'm carrying my team, now I'm carrying my city, and I'm waiting on a call either from Childish or from Drizzy. Those are two that I admire, and the two that I relate with. Only rappers in the game that I believe in really say should become who I am.
The mentoring went great.
Yeah.
Let me share the last story for this week's vlog, which is about Gary.
If I am creating some distortion amongst my employees and my friend base that consumes my content, I think it's gonna be all for good. Do I think that people at VaynerMedia drink the VaynerMedia Kool-Aid and their friends and relatives tell them that they're drinking the VaynerMedia Kool-Aid? I do, because they tell me those stories every day. If it's happening, I think everybody's gonna win. That 2 cents is the whole difference.
I guess the big differences that it all comes down to is, what are you using reality distortion field to? You should live in your own world, and you should have a strong belief system to support it. Make others see what you see, then show them what value they get out of it if they see the world through your eyes.
Stunt like Van Wilder, living life during college. Carolina kid got game, go ahead and call me Wallace. I've been doing this my whole life, I've been balling out my whole life, and I know it's time, cause I'm ready to go, I'm ready to go, ready to go. All of my friends have been telling me, bro, it's time that you blow, I know.